Hello, whoever you are. My name is Andrew Kilgour. I am the Executive Recruitment Manager at FindStaff Executive. And my colleague over here is...
My name is Sergio, and I am an executive recruitment consultant based in Perth and part of the recruitment team, executive recruitment team.
Right, thanks, Sergio. So this video is about how we, one way in which we can work with candidates, job seekers, people that are interested in the opportunity. We call this our proactive candidate representation services. I might try and work on a better title at some point down the line, but that's essentially what we're talking about. So we're just going to give you a bit more information in this video about how we, our approach, why we feel it's useful and beneficial, why it might be beneficial to you, so you can let us know if it's something that you're interested in. And so Sergio and I work within FindStaff Executive, which is part of a recruitment business called FindStaff, which is part of a large non-for-profit charity called the Interwork Group, with 23 different businesses in it across and 3,000 staff across Australia and New Zealand, with about 35,000 clients across those businesses. We work in the executive search space, so most of our time is spent delivering exclusive search assignments where clients work with us in exclusive partnership, and we essentially run an exhaustive search assignment, essentially a headhunting campaign, to find and attract talent and help a client manage a process. So we typically work at the leadership level, whether that be middle, senior management, heads of functions, executive leadership, C-suite, anything from around sort of maybe we'd look anything around the sort of just below 200k plus up to the top end of town. So most of our time is spent doing that. At the same time, what we also do is work on behalf of individuals to help them find their ideal opportunity. And so we kind of do the same thing for an individual. We don't charge for that. We still get paid by the client who ends up, if you end up taking a role, then the client would still pay us for that. The benefit for us is we might approach firms that we don't currently work with. It's a way for us to open the door, develop business, grow a relationship, etc., etc., etc. Plus, it's another avenue for us to make a placement. So the process there would be, we would also look to work with you in exclusive partnerships. So I'll explain the kind of ideal scenario, and just so you're aware. So ideally, it's somebody who someone who's currently employed, who's thinking about making a move, hasn't yet really gone at the market, isn't working, registered with loads of other recruitment firms, isn't far into their process. They doesn't have, like, if someone's got 5 interviews going, all at advanced stages, they don't really necessarily need our services because you've got some good opportunities. So you're probably at that early stage, might not be 100% sure what you want to do. We can certainly help you with that. So we have a consultation process with you that involves really getting to understand you, your skills. We've got various tools, frameworks that we can use to help you understand your skills and what you want to do. If you don't have complete clarity, and that some people do. Some people say, yeah, I really want to do something like this in this kind of space, in this market, and then we can really be really targeted. Other people might need some help to get to that point, but ideally we're looking to get to a point of clarity with an individual where we know perhaps it's the ideal type of role, or that suite of roles, something like this, or a role like this, or a role like that in these types of industries, with these types of organizations. What we then do is produce a list of target companies. So rather than us working on a role where we've got a list of individuals we're targeting, we've got a list of target organizations, and Sergio and or I make confidential and discreet approaches to those businesses, and we make those approaches at the appropriate level. So if you would report into a CEO, we'd call a CEO. If you're a CEO, we'd call presidents, board chairs. So we call basically the individual or the individuals that would be that would be your supervisors that you'd be reporting up to. Essentially, head of people and culture. It really depends on the organization, but we're looking at going in at that kind of level. And so we don't mention who you are or where you work. So we're a complete cloak over the process. So you don't risk the market knowing that you're interested in the opportunity. And we have those conversations where we talk about a type of individual with this skill set, these achievements, we basically sell you or communicate information about you which we think is potentially attractive to those target employers. If there's an interest in opening communication with you or learning more, we always come back to you first. We spoke to this business, spoke to this person, this is the conversation, this is what we're thinking. Are you okay for us to either tee up an interview or send your CV? So your CV doesn't go anywhere without your full and prior authorization. And like I say, we're a cloak over the process, so it's confidential. There's discretion involved, and we're going in at the right level. We're not looking on Seek and LinkedIn to see what jobs are there. We're not speaking to a lower level talent acquisition person. We're going in at the right kind of level, and we're experts and very experienced at doing that approach and facilitating those conversations. Some organisations we may know, so we already have contacts and relationships there. If it's an organisation that we don't know, that's not a particular barrier to us for having the conversation. It's something I've done across my 20 years in recruitment, so no real problems there. But we want to target for organisations that you're interested in speaking to, and you'd be interested in having communication with. Another reason why that can be beneficial is, as a lot of people will know, is roles can be there's a process by which a role gets approved, and so a role comes to light, and often there are conversation things happening way before something ever lands to Seek or LinkedIn. Often, obviously, not. I think something like around 70% of hires might be made off market, if you know what I mean, because someone knows someone, etc., etc. So often we can get involved in a process where something's being crystallized, or there's a need for something, and there's a need for something, and then you come along, it's the right timing, and a role can actually be shaped and developed with you. If you're the right person, you can often work together to build a job description, to build a role profile, which can be very beneficial in terms of getting the right mix of what you want to do and what they want you to do. So that's something which happens quite a lot, is that you can actually circumnavigate a recruitment process, because if a company's thinking about doing something, you come along, it's a great fit, and they don't have to run a recruitment process, which can be it could take some time, it might not be fruitful. So there's many benefits to doing that, but essentially that's what we would offer. So what we ask for is honesty, open communication, transparency, and a period of exclusivity with those organizations. So we know that we're the only ones speaking to these firms on your behalf. If you've spoken to a firm in the last 6 months or had an interview, especially through another recruiter, we can't duplicate that for various reasons, which we can talk about. But essentially, you can have a conversation with us, a few conversations with us, you go back to your day job, and we're out there in the market working for you, knocking on the right doors, looking to find out if there is an opportunity for you there, and then helping you facilitate that process. So even if there is a role that people are being interviewed for, one benefit to us is that we can help get some more information from the client, from the employer, about where you rank, what they might want to see you demonstrate more in the interview process as you go through the stages, to give you a better chance of being a standout candidate. Can also help you with salary negotiations, contractual negotiations, really the whole process from handshake to handshake. And whether it's a process that we're running or a process that we're involved in, we look to try and add as much value as we possibly can to bring about an outcome that's beneficial to all parties, basically. So that is essentially that is our proactive candidate representation service in a nutshell. Anything you would add to that, Sergio?
No,
I might have missed.
I would say that we're not exclusive to states as well. We work across the whole of Australia, so we're a national entity, and I think you've pretty much covered everything. Time frame wise, we might have slightly different processes, but time frame, you're looking at a week or two to make introductions. Is that, as I understand, you do work on the same process?
Yeah. So when we're out there, we work at speed. We work at speed. So
yes.
Once we've had consultation process with you, with the individual, which can take, we work your availability. But again, it may be that you already know what you want, or we need to have some conversations to help flesh it out. Happy days. But once we've got to that point where there's clarity, and then we've got clarity on the targets, we then get to work. So ideally, we'd look to go through a list, within a week, 2 weeks. Often there could be rounds of follow-ups, different. We kind of want to keep going till we get an answer either way, whether it's a no, thank you, not right now, or there is something there.
Yes.
We look to have a completion with that list. Same as if we're working on a list for a client, we want to make sure we've spoken to everybody, and a candidate's either said, I'm interested or I'm not. So we kind of want that, want to hear it from the horse's mouth. That's what we endeavour to do, to get that clarity. So we're getting a real-time appreciation within your target employer base of what's going on with those businesses in relation to potential opportunities. And as you mentioned, Sergio, we're not defined by geography. Speaking to a candidate recently, he was Australia-based, was interested in opportunities in Singapore and the UK, and so there might be some challenges there with time zones. But essentially, that's also something we would do, is we can look to make an approach internationally as well. So it's more about what your criteria is. So it could be an employer, it could be I'm open to these locations, or I'm interested in something in this location. So again, we try and find out your ideal. And so let's say we had a list of 15 firms, 5 of those are top 5. If we get a hit with the top 5, then we don't necessarily need to go to the others. And so we kind of work on a list of what's the ideal. And we might have tiered approaches. So it might be like first ideal is the organizations like this in this location. Second choice is this. And so we kind of work through that systematically to try and find you, what you're looking for, basically. So if you are interested in that type of approach or learning more about it, then please let us know, and we'd be more than happy to jump on a Teams call and have a chit chat and have a discussion and see if it works for everybody.
Absolutely. Thanks, Andy.
All right. Thank you, Sergio.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you to whoever you are, and we hope to hear from you in due course.
Definitely.